I'm headed out on my very first owl survey of the season. So it is, you know what today is. Usually I don't start until later, until after my guiding season in the winter is over. But slow week, not much going on. I know I have the day off tomorrow, so I'm headed out. So it's March 9th. It's about 6:30, so too light out still. Probably great horned owls maybe calling. What I'm really hoping to find or listen to is boreal owl and great gray owls. It's usually dusk before I pick any sounds up on them. But I'm going to go out, kind of look at the area, see what's going on, see how this goes. So what I do for my owl surveys is I have a section of road and I pick 6 places. I have picked 6 places along this road. Occasionally I'll stop just to listen to other places just to make sure, but I have 6 places that I'll stop. I might stop for 10-15 minutes, I might stop for an hour. A lot of that depends on the weather, whether I've heard anything there in the past, if anything's there that night, and how much time I have. This year I'm going to pick up a couple more places on different areas because I live in a different area, so I have a lot more ground to get to the area, which I've been doing for the last couple of years. Areas that I'm looking for, I really like to get higher in elevation than I am, but that's tough. It would mean snowshoeing or cross-country skiing for me, and good distances that I have to cover at night. And in Yellowstone, they just got their eyes on the first grizzly bear yesterday. It's been out of its den, so it's that time of year I got to worry about bears. But so in general, I'm looking for conifer forest, mixed trees, fir and spruce trees, subalpine fir and Engelmann spruce. Kind of the areas I'm looking specifically for the boreal owls. They're a cavity nester, so I'm looking for places where there's cavities about 15 feet off the ground. The great gray, I'm looking for different things for them. Same type of setting. As far as nesting, they're going to, actually they share goshawk territory, and they'll take over. Owls don't make their own nests, so they take over other birds' nests. So goshawk nests. They will also do like tops of broken off trees. Douglas fir would be a good area to look for them as well. That's kind of what I look for. And this area that I've come out to in Island Park kind of has what I'm looking for. I know there's been a past of sightings of boreal owls along this road. So this year, I'm going to do a little bit more than I had the last couple of years. I've always been a little timid with grizzly bear season, but I got a new pair of skis that allow me to kind of get a little further, a little faster, and some snowshoes that I've been using. So my goal is once I actually start hearing the boreal owls, and actually what you're looking for is a certain call. They'll do their regular call, but they'll change that once they've actually found and decided on a nest. And so when that call happens, I'm going to try to be out, I imagine a mile or more away from the road in order to really pinpoint where it is. And then once I pinpoint and know that I'm within the right area, I'll GPS mark it and go in later during the daytime and start looking for cavities that could be possible nesting sites. And when I find those cavities, a couple things I'll be looking for in the area is a perch. Owls don't always spend the time in the cavity. They can be perched out and around, not too far from the cavity. Also, as birds, owls specifically, as they are roosting in same places over and over, they'll be whitewashed, they'll be poop typically a pile of places, so as long as that doesn't wash away. Also looking for wing marks in the ground, anything, any sign that will lead me to believe that there is an owl nesting. Once I do find an owl nesting, the idea is to monitor that site from a distance, put a trail camera up, and so I'm not disturbing a nest site, and monitor it that way so that I can see if it's active, if they use it, and ideally, when you find a site like that, it'll be active year after year within that area, and so I don't have to do the work every year. The other thing I've been thinking about is actually putting up nest boxes, which they will use. Again, that's a matter of, nest boxes aren't small. I gotta tie a couple of them to a sled and pull it out to areas where I've heard these owls. Problem with an owl nest box as well is, although it may increase some chances of getting an owl, one of the purposes is photography, and an owl box doesn't look great for photography. So I'm just getting into the end of the road where I'm going to listen for my first spot. It is definitely too light still. I'm going to just glass the area, see if they get loose out here. I'm always hoping to find a wolf coming through the area. Usually this time of year I have skunks out here that are starting to come out of hibernation. Kind of just look around for a little bit, and maybe I'll get my skis on and ski back a little ways to where these owls have been calling in the past. See how this goes. Okay, I'm just pulling up to the spot. Actually, I went up and turned around. This is where I listen at. Let me show you. So just park along the road, and this area right out here, basically that direction through those trees is where I've heard the owls. It's hard to say how far back I've gone back, at least a half mile, and still hear them. Beautiful evening. Just gonna wait for that sun to set, drive around a little bit, and see if we hear anything tonight. So what I forgot was all that last place that I just showed is where I've listened to them. Last year, I've actually came to this area, and right here behind me, because it's just an easier place to navigate. And so those conifers that are clear in the background out there is actually where I've walked out to. Then you start going up the hill from there. 2 years ago, I went out there, must have been the summertime. A lot of good cavities in that area. So that's one area I'm really going to try for this year. So I got more aspens through here. But, again, just waiting for the sun to go down, and I'm going to make this my new number spot, or my new spot. I can't remember if this is 1 or 6, instead of where I showed before, just because of where it's at. And I think the sand will come through these trees a little easier than the conifers up the road. Okay, sun is set. I did start hearing great horned owls about 7:10. Right now, it is 8:08. So I've heard 4 great horned owls, kind of different, various locations, all further than what I do. One of the things that I mentioned earlier that kind of makes it difficult for listening for the owls is this area. I'm not too far from a reservoir and another lake. And so with the migratory birds, you get a lot of trumpeter swans and golden eyes and things flying over where, you know, I can hear them, and it kind of interferes with some of that. So I'm headed back to the spot, seeing where I want to be. Oops. So I'm going to come up here and start listening, see if I have anything at this spot, and I'm just going to start working my way back. Okay, just was at location 6, 8:28 now, nothing. Uh-oh, my car just died. It's not supposed to happen. Let's had issues with the battery. Let's see if that's it. This will be fun. Battery was disconnected. Okay, so location 6, the bust, nothing tonight. And I think I'm going to skip a couple places just because of what my battery just did. I don't have any cell phone service out here, and don't want to get stuck out here without that. But what I do to know all my locations, I want to hit the same locations every single time that I'm out here. I use an app. Honestly, don't know how to pronounce it right. It's GAIA, and so I just have pinpoints of my different locations. So I just follow the map to that point, so I'm always listening in the same place. So the furthest one out, the one I was just at, is 6, and I have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as I work my way back in. I go out 5. It's a little ways up. I might have service, so I'll go and we'll keep on going and see if I can get anything else tonight. Okay, I came into Alser, my location number 2. It's 8:38. I have a little bit of service here. I'm not too far from where I got service, so I'm just gonna sit here and listen for a few minutes, and I'll head up the road. And one of the things, you know, I mentioned this app that I have that I like. That in the past, there's one place that I'll go next, which isn't really part of my locations. It will be. There's just a bend in the road where you can't see traffic coming, and I wasn't sure if it was private property or who owned it, but this app also gives you the opportunity to see who owns the property, and so in this case it's the Forest Service. So I'll pull off on the road up there, and it's a great place. I've had saw-whets every year. I had a great gray last year calling in that area, and so we'll give this area about 10 minutes, see if I get anything, and I'll move up the road. Okay, so just stopped at the place listening for the saw-whet. I think I'm going to call it a night tonight. I came out, I just wanted to get out and get started. Wasn't very prepared. You know, I always try to have a journal with me. I got my journal. I don't have anything to write in it with it. Don't have the right shoes. I'm not dressed right for being out in like the snow is melting early. One of the things that, from what I understand, these owls are starting to get active. It's once the tree wells start clearing up. And I was out and about the other day. I noticed that a lot of the tree wells are melting out. Things have been melting pretty fast. And basically that has to do with the redback voles. The redback voles getting active, then the owls are getting active. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, every time that I go out, I'm going to record and try to put my thoughts together a little better in the future and kind of tell you what I'm really doing. It's kind of scattered tonight here and there. Tell you all the things that I'm looking for, the habitat that I'm in. Go out into the forest, into the trees, and see if I can get some owls recorded as well. So again, kind of the first night, early for me, but decided to go ahead and get out. The snow's going fast this year. But continue, I'm gonna, try to get out 2 to 3 days a week. Record as much as I can and go ahead and post it on YouTube, share it on Facebook. So if you want to keep up on what I'm seeing, what I find, hopefully this year I do find some nest and can really get into that, go ahead and like, follow, hit the alarm thing on YouTube so you can keep up to date and keep up on these owls. And whatever else I got going on, I got a few things that I want to do this year, this spring. I'll try to keep it